Welcome back to Appian World 26. We are streaming live from Orlando. I'm Alison Kosik alongside Dave Vellante, and we're about to dig in to a couple of industries that are really ripe for modernization, insurance and healthcare, right?
Yeah, so we can all relate to the insurance industry, right? I mean, whether it's car insurance, home insurance, health insurance, right? It's everybody pays for insurance, right? So.
Yeah, let's dig into the conversation. I'm going to bring in Jake Sloan. He's the Industry Vice President of Insurance and Healthcare with Appian. Welcome to theCUBE.
Thanks, Alison, great to be here.
So these are two areas that you wanted to highlight today, and that really are really great examples of needing a technological makeover, I would assume.
Yes. No, it's a great example. You know, the industry itself, 300 years old, right? And when you think about all of the different ebbs and flows it's had over that time, one of the most profound changes in the speed that we're seeing right now with all the capability that both the industry has been receiving as well as what we've been releasing as a firm, and the willingness from insurers that have that conservative nature, which is what we want in our insurers, yet the ability this year in particular to really go from pilot to production, we're just seeing it at an unprecedented pace, which has been great.
Yeah.
What are the dynamics going on in the industry? What are the drivers? Do you serve property and casualty, life, the whole gamut? Give us the update on sort of the industry sort of dynamics right now.
That's right, so we serve our life insurance, property and casualty, non-life general insurance, as well as healthcare payers globally. We have 3 operating theaters between Europe, North America, and the Asia Pacific. And if you see any headline, you see that weather events and storm frequency and storm severity, it just continues to rise. So global insurers, broadly speaking, are balancing both the act of truly trying to understand the weather, having the actuarial function, as well as then the incredible claims moment of truth when that promise of a intangible piece of paper comes to life. So we're very proud to work with our underwriting communities, with our claims communities, as well as all the different facets of insurance, whether you're onboarding agents, whether you're onboarding brokers, and working them through the life cycles to bring innovation there.
Would any company insure an oil tanker right now? You don't have to answer that.
Yeah, we'll let that one for another day.
Crazy, but the point is, things change so fast.
They do.
In that business. I mean, we've seen weather events, then that trickles through the entire industry. It changes the sort of algorithms for underwriting, it changes the pricing algorithms, and so
that's right.
They've got to be, you think of insurance as sort of this old, like you say, 300-year-old staid business, but they've actually increasingly got to be agile.
Absolutely.
How does AI help with that?
It's been incredible that way. So when we look at what the functions, if we separate, say, the job description of what the individuals in the insurance is doing, as well as the knowledge, the functions largely remain the same, whether it be an actuary, a claims examiner, an underwriter, yet the knowledge ramp, just as you said, whether it be geopolitical, whether it be weather, is constantly evolving and changing. Fraud in particular has been incredible that way. So being able to take the capabilities that AI can bring to these functions, yet put them inside of a process. So for instance, on the underwriting side, we've pre-built what we call Appian's connected underwriting capability. That's a pre-built solution that intakes, underwrites, it triages the risk that's coming in. We do the similar approach on the claims side to accelerate the intake, the alliance of that first notice of loss. And AI is critical to be able to help us understand document ingestion. What's the intent? What's the capability of that? Understanding whether the next best action is aligned to their risk tolerance, so their underwriting manuals. And so those are just 2 low-hanging examples that we've been very successful with. In fact, we're the highest rated from the underwriting workbench perspective in the latest Everest report. So
those 2 products, the underwriting and the claims, you're bringing in a non-deterministic, a probabilistic technology, agent technologies.
That's right.
Blending that with the governance or architecting it with the governance that you're known for?
It's that sweet spot of I want to go fast, however I have these guardrails called regulation that I have to operate within. So it may be sometimes on the deterministic side, whether we're looking at some traditional instruments, like the OFAC list, or if we're looking at KYC, traditional financial service instruments, on whether or not they can be paid for a claim. We're also looking at some of the probabilistic aspects of, as insurers look to either expand capacity or release, if they're tightening it, if we're in a hardened market, if they're releasing it, if we're growing, those are some of the rules at the micro level that the industry has really aspired to. And when we look at large core admin systems, they have their place in insurance, both on the life and the property casualty side, yet they're not built for that kind of speed and that kind of agility. So that's where having an orchestration layer and the agility layer that is Appian to surround all of the ability of CRM or of core admin has really been this incredible combination.
Are they changing, is it changing the way in which users interact with the system? Are they interacting in human language? I wonder if you could describe that experience.
Yeah, well, let me be clear. I still don't see anybody that looks to interact with their insurer. However, when they do, they want an incredible experience that they have in their digital life, whether it be any big box retailer, any kind of a progressive, low effort, high reward kind of experience. And so for us, when we talk about true agentic capability, we've seen more interest in the last 6 months related to agentic voice, for instance. We were just on with a webinar with our colleagues in Australia last week and our partners at AWS, where we were talking about a true proactive agentic capability where a large flood that may take several days to go from, say, a high mountainside down to the low, now has an agentic voice agent integrated with Appian to proactively notify the community, proactively fortify the community. And that's just an example where tech is truly creating just this incredible capacity for human empathy and for recovery at the community level, all coming together with all the rigid, hard tech on the backside.
What do you see are the biggest challenges in healthcare and in the insurance industries in becoming more modern?
Yes.
Obviously you talk about regulation, there's privacy, there's cybersecurity.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's the volume. When we talking about the size of these systems and the tens of millions of members that are using them. Secondly, you want to iterate fast, yet you don't want to end up on the front page of one of these publications that your bot just made a bad decision. So it's understanding how you can have the best of both, where you can configure and go fast while also having the guardrails and then being able to put it back into a process. We see so many proofs of concept or so many ideas around AI that is a task automation. It accelerates the task at the moment, but not the totality of the opportunity, whether that be member onboarding, whether that be looking at prior auth and some of the different healthcare processes. And so being able to balance both is key.
Yeah, I call that paving the cow path. You're just kind of automating a process. That,
exactly, yeah, you are, and one of my favorite books you may appreciate is Sacred Cows Make the Best Hamburgers, where you're talking about how you have those old stereotypes and you really got to break your thinking and do new things.
How do you see, a lot of times I feel like the insurance industry, because they have to, takes a brute force approach to underwriting. They say, well, we had a lot of hurricanes in Florida last year, so
yes,
everybody's prices are going up, and then that's going to ripple through the system. Two-part question is, one is, will AI help us sort of anticipate, like in the Northeast, you can go on an oil plan, even though you're not paying for oil in the summer, you're smoothing out the pain as opposed to paying thousands of dollars a month in January. So can AI help sort of anticipate that and then maybe kind of spread the blame a little bit more evenly? Are you seeing any progress there?
Wait, are you asking AI to predict the future with weather? Okay, obviously that's part of it, so yeah.
No, certainly. Well, and this is the fun fact. The industry has been using AI models, say, on the actuary side. When you're talking about, say, the storm frequency, we're here in Florida, and so when we think about the bad rap that sometimes the industry is receiving, we'll defend it vigorously because there's a lot of incredible execution and calculation. However, there's also, look, if you have a coastal property, you don't want that property to go up at the commensurate rate of risk that it would need to garner for that premium, and that's the part that's been difficult. So AI is helping us as it relates to some of the micro placement capabilities, the product configuration capabilities, as it relates to other parts, whether it be the Northeast and some of the different capabilities there. It certainly plays a part, yet are we outpacing one aspect at the expense of the other? So if the actuaries can create these incredible models, but we can't run them through the core admin systems and the policy admin systems that are creating that, and that's where this good middle ground has come from us, from a product configuration. Some of our partners here this week with Insurmo and others that have been really key for us to find that middle ground, because the other side of this is you could have tech sprawl at an unprecedented rate, and so we're also looking to keep the guardrails on the tech sprawl and help keep the stack lean while also bringing innovation inside of it.
We're getting the xylophone keynote warning.
I thought that was just my earpiece.
Yeah.
I wanted to...
You better go, we're going to be involved in some sort of musical...
I know, right? But I wanted one last question if I could. If we're back here in 2027,
yes,
at Appian World, what do you want to be able to say that you can't say today?
Well, I can say it today. I would say more scale on the pilot to production. We have, again, going back to what we just discussed, as far as the conservative nature of insurance, we're seeing more and more companies embrace, whether it be AI, policies that are starting to change. We didn't talk about it as much here, but the regulation in the US, for instance, the NAIC Model Bulletin, or the EU AI Act, and APRA and CPS 230 in Australia, all of those are now accelerating as well. So I'd like to be back here next year talking about how we're keeping pace with regulation, we're pushing more through to have the protections, the guardrails we need, while we're also seeing the benefit of adoption from all of our Appian customer base. That's been incredible.
And you'll be able to keep up with regulations, presumably, better today than you maybe were 10 years ago.
Absolutely,
right?
and in fact, we're working with the regulators, giving them some of these same tools, because if you see it through their eyes, it's not that they're intentionally trying to be slow, they're also trying to figure out how they adapt it, adopt it, and put it across in practical application.
Yeah, they don't want to be blockers.
That's right, no, they're doing great that way.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by theCUBE.
Thank you.
Great conversation, enjoyed your expertise.
Thank you so much.
And you're watching theCUBE, the leader in live technology coverage. We'll be right back.